And we're live!
We are.
Oh, no, there you go. We are on right now. So, stuff happened. Here we are again. For the folks of you who actually watch us. Hi, everyone. Love you. So, yet another week of barely no news.
Yeah, I mean, there has been a few bits and bobs, but nothing.
I mean, there's a book coming out about the animated series. If you looked at
I saw that.
It's actually written by one of the folks at Trek FM who actually hosts a podcast about the animated series. Sadly, the name, I have to dig for the name because it's by Aaron Harvey and Rick Shipper. I think Aaron Harvey is the guy with Trek FM. But yeah, so Star Trek, the official guide to the animated series, published by Simon & Schuster. So the first official reference book about, specifically, just only about the original animated series, which will feature a lot of key art, some musings, and episodes analysis, and concept art, and probably a lot of cells from Filmation, which was the same company that made probably, I think, one of your favorite shows, He-Man.
God, that brings back some memories, that does.
Yeah. Anyway, so I know, and funny thing, I know that I think a year ago, there was a sale. I don't know if it was eBay or any. I remember that the guy from Swear Trek got a sale from one of the memes he used that was from the animated series. He got one of the cells from one of the scenes that he used in one of his animated series based memes. So that was nice.
Yeah, I do love the Swear Track. It's kind of good for trolling people.
Oh yeah. So made by a Canadian guy, very successful, and he is now he's also running Effin' Birds, which actually launched a book recently about birds swearing also. And he is part of Canada 2020 something podcast network, which podcast network about politics and current events. So he has actual, an actual good proper life related to what he does. So
I mean, he doesn't try to make bank off Trek.
I know, right? Actually, yeah, he does sell a few mugs, and buttons, but it's just he doesn't make if he wants to, he tends to sell more of his Effin' Birds stuff because that's what's actually most popular, and since he knows that there's no licensed stuff for birds, so he can just actually make an actual book and sell it without. So yeah.
I don't know. I think you'd probably find parody to come on, if he was to ever do something.
Yeah, but since it's using actual art, it's actual screen caps and actual art from the show, then, it's more, it's a little muddier. Although there was a lawsuit recently with David Gerald because he was sued by the estate of the Dr. Seuss family because he made kind of a parody of Dr. Seuss with Star Trek characters, and actually Mr. Gerald actually won the lawsuit because it was an actual parody. So I don't know if the book will actually come out now, but hopefully it will. So yeah. Otherwise, news-wise, we have some 2019 Hallmark keepsake ornaments. Some new.
Nice Discovery one, isn't there?
Yeah, so we have like Refit Enterprise, and we have like Burnham and that scene where Burnham gives the telescope to Saru, which is really nice also. Although, if you want to have a Christmas tree with full of Star Trek decorate, that's going to run you. Well, actually, you need to travel back to 95 first of all, and then collect them all because, yeah.
You can get quite a lot of them on eBay. Actually, I had a look last year, but they are stupid prices.
Yeah, it's like if you know. Otherwise, some new games. So, Conflict in the Neutral Zone by the friend at WizKids. If I remember correctly, it's based on the Attack Wing system. Is that the one? No, that's not. Because I know there's going to be like because I don't know if you know, I have a lot of stuff from Star Trek Attack Wing, and I know like they're gonna make missions for it. Like I think that's gonna be more co-op based, using the same system. So that's gonna be nice for me. But this Conflict game seems to be something else. So we'll see. Sometimes Star Trek board games can be hit and miss. Pardon the pun. I've heard good things about the Ascendancy game, although it's one of those $100 tabletop games that probably takes like 5 hours to, like 2 hours to set up, 5 hours to explain the rules, and even longer to play. When you go in that comic shop and you see that giant Twilight Imperium box game that's like just by its size is so daunting, you don't want to buy it because, yeah. Actually, it's one of those, yeah.
Yeah, tabletop gaming is never really.
Yeah, I'm actually a big fan of it, but the thing is, right here where I live right now, it's kind of hard. Not a lot of folks, so. And it's also a question, it's a universal question of finding people and having people being available at the right time. I got all those Star Trek role-playing games, books in the back, and for now they're mostly for decoration because, well, no one has the time. And also, well, for role-playing games, you need an actual decent game master, which is hard enough to find in itself.
I've played it before, but I've not, tabletop games, but I've never really got into it. It's been more of a takes too bloody long.
Yeah,
I get bored, that sort of. But there are some people out there that really, really.
Oh yeah, that and actually, I don't know for you in the UK, but here in Canada, especially in Montreal, we've seen a lot of board gaming cafes pop up, and actually quite successful. People actually do like to go out and, rather than go in noisy bars, well, they go in a place where they can actually have the beer and have a games. They play games. And actually, what's nice is you have people there that are trained and can explain to you the game, so you can stop having to play Monopoly every week because that's the only game you know how to play.
I love that.
And it's honestly, to me, it's always been the hardest part about board games is I'm one of those that I need the game explained to me. Like I need to. I'm more of a visual type, so a rule book will only do so much. I'll grab some of the basics, but I need to get a feel for the game to understand its mechanics. I need to see them in action. So yeah, so that's why I kind of like those places. So
Well, certainly not around where I live.
Oh yeah, I know they're around. So, otherwise we have Dark Remnant VR game coming to Dave and Buster's. If you're an American and you have a Dave and Buster's not so far from you, you will have a new VR game featuring the USS Galileo. Basically, Dave and Buster's is kind of like an arcade kind of place, arcade restaurant. From what I understand, I've never been to one.
Yeah, it's like amusement, like an amusement type of it. You know, like arcades.
Yeah.
Seaside. You know, that's kind of similar to that, judging by the quick look I had.
Yeah, I've seen a few ads for those when I was in the US last year. So yeah, so maybe I actually have a road trip planned this summer because since I'm going to shore leave, I might see a few places, and I might see if there's one in one of the areas I'll be visiting and trying out. I'll let you know.
Where is
Sorry?
Where is shore leave?
It's in Hunt Valley, Michigan. Not Michigan, Maryland. Near Baltimore. Yep. So.
It's White Marsh.
Anyway, I'll be renting a car, so that won't be a problem. I will be able to move. Yeah, there's one in Washington D.C. and actually I'll be visiting Washington to go see the Smithsonian Air and Space Museum on the Monday because I want to see. I'll be able to go see the actual model used. The actual model of the Starship Enterprise that they restored 2 years ago, and also the actual space shuttle. So that's nice. So I'll add that to the. I'll add that to the to-do list for the road trip. Otherwise, yeah, not so much.
We've got some game news. Star Trek Online. You've got the First Contact Day event.
Oh. Well, it's Friday. First Contact Day is Friday. Oh yeah, well, there was a few. There was a Gorn. What do they call it? The Starter Online April Fool thing. Gorn of Discovery.
Gorn of Discovery. Yeah, it was basically a complete piss take of like they literally listed all the like wind and the Gorn identity and stuff like that. And
yeah, classic. That's
out
nice.
as a expansion, but everyone knows it's Star Trek Online. It's April.
Yeah, actually, you had Triple Darts, I think, also.
Yes.
Actual thing in the game.
Yeah, there was that, and they do a place like sound effects in the game, really cheesy ones and stuff. If I remember rightly, I think there was years ago. They basically opened up a server sort of thing, and they like.
Okay.
Basically, they joked and said they were completely wiping the game back, sending it right back. And they opened up actually go and play what the game was like. I think something like that.
Yeah.
And it was in such demand that they left it open longer. Go on it because it's downloading the because it's literally like you have to download, like they've got holodeck and they've got Dribble server.
Mm-hmm.
And basically,
The original game all over again. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was like something else.
Yeah, it's kind of like you know how ThinkGeek sometimes make April Fool's products that are so popular that they end up actually making them. I know it was the case. 1 year they advertised a Tauntaun sleeping bag, and then
That's so bad. Was it like bright red and like grace inside?
I don't think so, but still, they actually ended up making it. And same thing, I think they made the unicorn meat, which was basically like spam with glitter.
You can buy that on Amazon.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
You can completely random. You can buy a unicorn poop and stuff.
Yeah,
yeah. Many people would buy is hilarious.
Well, actually, if you hate someone enough, you can actually buy a box of glitter to have it delivered to them.
Yeah, so when they open it, it explodes in their face. Yeah, I've seen that.
But yeah, coming back to and there was WonderCon this weekend, so there's not any kind of breaking info. Like, we know that there's going to be a Star Trek Discovery comic miniseries. However, there was no details because it would kind of spoil the finale, apparently. And the Star Trek Original Series Season 5 series will be, I think, 24 issues, with like each two issues will be kind of like one episode. Kind of like what they did with, when they launched the comics in 2010, 2011. Kind of like doing a retake on some of the original episodes with the Kelvin crew. So that's...
You said about the...
Well, that's probably going to be...
I mean, I want to read the books. Discovery books and stuff like that, and a lot of it isn't tied in, and retcon throughout the series.
I think most of what's been retconned is mainly stuff from the first book, from David Mack's book, because unfortunately he went with the Shenzhou meeting the Enterprise, so that entailed Pike and Spock. So when they decided to have Spock on season 2, that kind of... Yeah, they had to make some... but thing is, the authors know what they do and know that whatever they do, it can be retconned at any time. But, whatever... David Mack still got to name actual people, actual characters, and their name were canonized in the show. So, I mean, that's fair enough. I would take that trade off personally.
Really? Which one
considering, like, I wouldn't say the trade off, but I would say, like, given that. Oh well, if my book isn't canon, at least I got to name some characters that made it on screen. I'd go like that. But I think after spending like 20 years writing novels, you kind of get used to the fact that you're being paid for fan fiction. Panwank. But yeah, so otherwise there was also a special effects panel, and the asteroid sequence in the first episode of season 2 actually started working on it like as they were finishing season 1.
Really?
Yeah. So, and it was still like they still felt like they could do a little better, but at one point you gotta let it go.
That's kind of amazing, actually, bearing in mind that that means that they're working on it.
I mean, they started, to start the concept, they're starting telling people what they want to do, and they start, it wasn't like full production, but it's still like kind of pre-prod stuff, drawings and drafting, and but still, yeah, they started working on it really, really early. And although they didn't answer the question that was burning on everyone's mind, why was the garage door always open on the Discovery? We're not heating the outside. It's like, that's something we say here in Quebec is like, we're not heating the outside. Close the door. So,
yeah, I mean, it's something that it was there in season 1, and then it kind of like has now disappeared. And it's kind of like, are they doing it just to show that they can, or are they doing it because?
I don't know. It kind of bugs me every time I see it now.
Well, it does, especially like, okay, yeah, fair enough. There's a force field there and stuff like that, but
yeah, like
especially when like they get to a red alert or whatever, and then the doors are kind of like just left open. You're just thinking to yourself, okay.
It only takes one 4-ounce torpedo hit at the right place for the force field to go down, and but that's what Trekkies do. We nitpick. But I think it might just be a statement from the special effects team say, look, we can do it. We can make it work. Look, it's actually...
Well, yeah, I mean, it's been there, isn't it? So it's...
Because, if you think about it, it's one of the things we never got to see in the Next Generation was main shuttle bay. Because the set would have had to be so large... They would not have been able to do it. So that's why you always saw shuttles coming out of Shuttle Bay 2 in the neck, at the back of the neck, because main Shuttle Bay is so large. I mean, it takes basically the entire deck. And if you would have had a certain Stage 9 software, you could have visited that.
Yeah, to be fair, that was actually quite epic.
It was.
I didn't have it, but just the YouTube videos and stuff like that. That's were there. Epic to see.
Oh, I still have like the latest version of Stage 9 on my hard drive, and I'm keeping it preciously. Who knows? One day I might, could be fun. But so yes, but anyway, if you'll be able to Google it up, find pictures of it. It's not hard to find, but it's They call that digital set extensions. It's something they really couldn't do back then. They couldn't only really do it today. So I think
Well, yeah, I mean, if you saw behind the scenes video of Hannah Cheeseman on his day on set when they presented her with the flag. The Discovery shuttle bay itself is literally just the back wall.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of it is just all green screen.
Yep. Well, there's the floor also. Well, yeah. But even then, the floor, the part that goes down, probably CGI'd in. I think. I'm not sure, but I don't think that the floor actually.
Because they do go down, don't they? In it's possible that it's.
Oh, I'd be surprised. I really, honestly would be surprised. But yeah, so otherwise, sorry, I jumped so quickly in the news, but let's see. Honestly, there were Paley Fest. Did we talk about that last week?
That was last week, wasn't it?
In March 20. It's hard to tell, but yeah. So there were basically. I don't know. I honestly, there's so much text. I don't honestly. I'm at the point right now. I just want to watch the episodes and enjoy them, and I'm starting not to. Not because they're not interesting. It's just me personally. It's just like yeah. I mean, yes, of course they're working on season 3. Of course they can't tell us what. Of course they. I'm at the point where. It's like, of course, they can't tell me or tell us what we actually want to know. They they always kind of go around and.
Well, yeah, I mean that's completely understandable. I mean you've got to bear in mind that we're 3 episodes.
Yeah, away. Yeah, 3 episodes away from
season end.
Yeah.
And they're not going to turn around and tell us anything to do with season 3 until season 2 is wrapped. So it's kind of, why would you?
Yeah. But yeah, so apparently the finale is going to be so mind-blowing.
It's gonna, yeah, I can't remember exactly the exact words they used. They said it's not going to be what we expect, and
I fear, and now my inner gatekeeping trick is kind of like, oh, should I worry? Should I not? Because so far, they've been doing good. But what we've seen this week is like, are they gonna go? Please don't take that route. Please don't do Borg. Please, God, no, please.
I'll touch on that in a minute. I mean, there's a couple of other things.
But yeah, so I'm all hopeful and all, but I'm at the same time I have that inner feeling like, God, please don't go there.
Just quickly in other news, and then we can talk about Borg. The Timelines news. There's a month long.
Yeah, there's a mega event. So starting this week, legendary characters are hard enough to get. So basically, it's a month-long event, and at the end, if you do all 4 events, you'll end up with a 4 out of 5 star legendary, which is always kind of nice. Honestly, yeah, it's a little bit casino, but at the same time, once I put, I don't know, $20-$30 in, and I got, and I understand, at a point, it's a free to play, so if you want to actually have some fun with it, you got to cuff up a little bit of money, So I totally understand that, and all you have to do, you have to. It's kind of like it's the casino, but you're not winning anything. You have to manage your the money you put in. So I usually just put like $20 a month.
Okay.
Yeah, I know.
I think the most I've ever spent on that is £5 a month.
Yeah, well, to
get the
the dilithium monthly card.
Yeah.
But yeah, because sometimes I see that, because there's an offer sometimes like for $12.99, and you get like 10 premium packs, and I usually take one a month because that offer is not always there, so it pops up every once in a while. So I guess it probably has a heuristic algorithm that finds out when you have money.
Probably true. Probably no.
But honestly, yes. Yeah, so but the thing is, yeah, I'm totally aware of that, and I'm not. And the thing is, I'm not playing to win either. I'm just playing to take all my boxes, have some fun, and actually have a great Quebec based fleet. And we have a little server and a little Discord server, and like each time we immortalize a character, we take a screen cap and we share it with our friends. It's like, yeah, and then we kind of encourage ourselves, and it's kind of fun. So yeah, but yeah, it's a
way back when it started. The game actually launched, and because I'm on and off it all the time, my fleet's pretty much dead. But
yeah. But yeah, so it's basically what they call appointment gaming. So I have to check on my phone every like 2 hours to make sure that my voyage is like not running out of antimatter, so I can get. So when it comes back, I can stack up on my chronotons. Because I think
that was my biggest bugbear. The fact that it kind of sucks as well as sending notifications to your phone. I found. So when you were running low on antimatter or whatever, you either didn't see the notification or you didn't get anything, and then you didn't the game. Dead.
Yeah, well, I'm lucky enough right now to have enough good crew to be able to run like 8-hour voyages most of the time. So I'm lucky enough to when you reach 8 hours, you usually have like 350 chronotons. That's my average, and sometimes a super rare character. So, and I'm gonna have to let's see now on my super Galaxy S9. I know you just got the 10, so
I did, yeah. So while you do that quickly, I just want to. I found out today that another game that's for. You could get it on Steam.
yeah, it was on Steam and on cell phones, and it was pretty much on all the platforms.
Star Trek Adversaries is closed.
Yeah.
Kind of sucks because even though I'm not, a very big card game person thingy,
it was decent. It was,
the graphics were amazing for a mobile game. I was actually really shocked. It was almost as if
it's almost as if CBS gave him the 3D assets for the ships.
That's pretty much what it looked like. Because I don't like pissing on people's work. But graphically, the ships were 10 times better than what you see in Star Trek Online. I
think CBS actually gave him the. I know for a few that they actually got assets from CBS, especially for the Discovery stuff.
But yeah, no, that closed in 31st of January.
Oh, that's sad. Yeah, because we had how to say that in English? Kind of sound. Someone we knew on the Twitters. Holly actually worked at CBS Archives. That actually, which she I'm not sure if she left for that or she found another job after. She lost her job there because I think they got job crunch and a few had to leave, so I think she was one of those, and she found a job there, so it's kind of sad, but
I mean, from what I can gather, the entire studio closed down, so it wasn't just the game.
Yeah, well, that. Let's be honest, free-to-play games are a harsh market, especially the card-based ones. Especially now we have Magic Arena that really found a good, the actual Magic the Gathering actually found a good, actually, online kind of game. Because they had online games before, but they were based on the Planeswalkers kind of thing. But now they actually really did an actual Magic the Gathering experience, kind of like what you have, at your card game shop. And then you have the Hearthstones, and you have also Artifact by Steam, by Valve, and basically everyone and their mothers are starting to do card games. So I'm not astonished.
No, but it's still sucky because
it sucks. Some good people, but still at the same time, it is a harsh market out there for free to play stuff.
Well, yeah, I mean, talk about free to play games. Even though it's not free to play. The Fleet Command game. It needs a lot of work before it can become enjoyable. Put it that way.
And
so I play it on and off daily because it's just easy. You just log in, resource gather, and then log out again, sort of thing. But scaling of the NPCs and stuff like that are just way out. I'm level 21, and some of the NPCs, I picked up the missions when I was like level 15, and some of the NPCs are so over, like. Say, like, prime example, I think one of my ships is currently sat at 23,000 hull. Damage and stuff like that, and it wants you to go up against NPCs that have got like 100,000, and it's just like and the only ones I know that have progressed are ones that have spent a lot of money, and even then it's not
it's the classic feed the whale kind of stuff. It's the 1% of gamers who spent hundreds of dollars on the game that makes the game free for all the others. And
well, yeah, I mean that's true. I mean, but if you take Star Trek Online as an example, a lot of people moan about the lock boxes and stuff like that. But Star Trek Online is actually a free-to-play game. You don't have to sink a penny into it. It's literally everything you could want in the game. You can purchase either the exchange or grind out dilithium for premium currency, Zen, from the C store. So it's literally everything in it is free.
Although there's a limit to how much you can get daily, I think, right?
8,000 dilithium, but then there is ways around that. I mean, you just basically make alternates and call them deal monkeys, as I do, and 8,000 deal times, I think I've got about 12 characters, that adds up. So I mean,
okay, so it's per character, not per account.
Yeah, it's per character.
Okay.
So even though the exchange goes up and down like it would do, you can. I mean, I think I've only ever sunk about 200 quid, and about 150 of that was for the lifetime sub. So if, 50 quid over the space of what, it's been going 9 years.
Yeah, it's a pretty good investment.
Yeah, I mean, apart from a few like Space Barbie stuff, I've got pretty much everything there is in the game, and I've done it through just playing the game. I've not had to.
What a novel concept in 2019 gaming.
Well, no, I mean, it's just the thing is, it's like, there are issues with the game, like but it has been, and there's always the doom threads. This game is doomed, stuff like that. But I don't ever have a problem with it. A lot of people seem to say they run into bugs and stuff, and it's either they're doing something and I'm not. But it doesn't. Apart from that,
Apart from that.
Yes, so we've covered all the news and everything like that. So let's talk Borg.
Oh God, no!
I mean, there's a lot of things that would.
A lot of fan wank. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not even that. It's just people kind of seeing things that aren't there. Maybe. I don't know. Either that, although the biggest thing for me is a lot of them are saying that the control is the first step to the Borg and stuff like that. But I remember the same thing back decades ago when Vija was
Oh yeah.
And then they introduced the Borg, and things progressed from there, and then it's just like
Thing is, it was kind of like an idea that Runberry said, like, oh, it might be that, or I think it was Runberry said that, or Dorothy Fontana, because I know Dorothy Fontana made that into a part of the Star Trek Legacy video game way back when.
Yes.
But I think it was based on like an idea that was thrown around. But still, I'm still, I'm done with the Borg. I don't.
Yeah, I mean, we've touched on this, haven't we? How they've just completely overused and stuff like that. But I mean, a prime example would be in First Contact. They went back to stop First Contact.
Yeah.
So essentially, they're going back to stop themselves. That's because when a lot of people are like, oh well, it time and time travel and whatever.
Timey-wimey, yeah.
Timey-wimey. But basically, it's a case of well, why would, if they knew that oranges? Oh, for God's sake! You know what I mean? Can't get my words out.
Yeah.
Was based, reliant on, say, humanity achieving more drive, and then obviously discovery and control and that sort of thing. It's kind of like, well, why would they then go back to stop First Contact? Because then it was so that just don't make sense. It's like in the other thing is Dragon's Teeth, Voyager season 6, I think it is, episode 12, I think, off the top of my head. When they wake up the Vaadwaur, it was established that the Borg were 900 years old.
Yeah.
Again, it's like, why would the origins be in the 23rd century? And then obviously then people are like, oh yeah, well, time travel. It's just like, no.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, it could be, but at the same time, I think the writers are wise enough. I've shown enough. I know, like, some people will never be convinced about the current writers on Discovery because, they're not Michael Piller or something. And, of course, they will never be because, well, he's dead. Sorry to say, but
Won't be.
I think they want to do their own thing. And so far, that's the thing. Everything so far from season 2, all the parts of the mysteries have been internally consistent with what they've shown in Discovery itself. Other than for characters, they have relied, like, of course you have Pac and Spock, which are from other shows, but that's really the only big elements from other shows in present. So yeah,
and, whether people like to admit it or not, they have been kind of like canon consistent in the sense that they've not overwritten anything established. People seem to think that it's not canon, it's not
my canon, mer canon.
Star Trek canon. Basically, they haven't ever overwritten anything. They haven't retconned anything too much. Okay, fair enough. We're seeing aspects of Spock and stuff like that we never knew before, and but they've not like gone out of their way to completely retcon anything. Unlike Enterprise. Enterprise retconned the fact that they met the Romulan Empire before TOS.
Yeah.
The fact that the Klingons, technically. Okay, fair enough. They sorted it out in season 4, but for the seasons 1, 2, and 3, the Klingons looked at TNG.
Yeah,
stuff like that.
Yeah, there's that, and the fact that Romulans discover cloaking like 3 times in the Star Trek universe, twice in the original series. Like if you look at the Enterprise incident. It's like they forget the whole episode Balance of Terror, because Romulans now have cloaking. Well, they had it back in Balance of Terror. It just wasn't that big of a plot point, but they still kind of had it, and they were using it. And then in Enterprise, like in the Minefield episode, you had Romulans and they had cloaking. So what's up?
And the Klingons had cloaking as well, and didn't
I'm not sure about the cloaking. I'm not sure about the Klingons.
The Klingons share technologies, which is why this is.
Yeah, it was kind of kind of canon, because it wasn't ever really stated out loud that they traded cloaking for the D7s and something like that. It was just kind of some of the stuff that the fans kind of assumed that because Romulans used Klingon ships, well, they gave him cloaking in exchange. Of course, it would kind of make sense, but
that was all to do with like models or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
But yeah, no, I mean, that's whether people like to admit it or not. I mean, Discovery has never gone out of its way to break canon. Visually, yes, I understand why people might have. Well, I don't understand it, but I kind of get why people have an issue. But canon-wise, we all knew that there was a disastrous war with the Klingons. It happened. Spore drive. And,
spore drive and now time travel suit, but it's
again, none of that is. It's a retcon. It's an addition to. It's not like they've gone out of their way to. Well, Enterprise.
Yeah, exactly. And
Enterprise had the Ferengi in it. We weren't supposed to meet them until the last outpost in TNG.
It's kind of like Enterprise went out of their way to make sure that we saw stuff that we weren't supposed to see back in those. It was kind of like fan wanky, wasn't it? Really, it was literally. I mean, everything you saw in Enterprise was just like a throwback to everything we've seen before. Yeah, it was throwback to stuff that Brannon and Braga knew about, because they weren't big fans of the original series, so they relied on stuff that they actually knew, which was stuff from after the original series.
Looks like Next Generation,
and the same casting as Voyager, basically. All the guest stars, and recently they got Tim Russ of Spaceballs fame.
Can't remember what I said to someone about that. They were like, "Oh yeah, he was on it." I was like, "Yeah, I suppose even Trek actors have to work."
Mm-hmm.
But no, I mean, I shouldn't shit on it really, because to each their own.
Oh no, I just realized we said the forbidden words on the show. I'm so sorry. The O word.
Orifice. Anyway, yeah. So I mean, another interesting thing as well about the Borg is when. Okay, yeah. Obviously, we don't know the Borg Queen that we see in First Contact and Voyager was the first. But I'm kind of guessing that she was, judging by the amount of screen time and stuff that she had, and even after it was established that she was on the cube during Best of Both Worlds, that she came back in First Contact, and then she died in First Contact, and then she came back in Voyager, and but she's from a species 125, so I mean it's entirely possible, but then I really hope it's not.
Everything's possible. That's the magic of Star Trek. Is like they can do whatever the fuck they want, and now they can actually say fuck.
Yes, but no. I mean, I kind of understand why people are saying Borg. I do because especially in the last episode where it looked like he was injected with nanites and that sort of thing. But do you really think that they would go?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. It might be picked up by like authors and fan literature, but I don't think they will go that far. I think they might leave it at a point where people might, but that's what fans and authors do. They take leftover threads and make it out. Make it out to people like to close loopholes. They might use that eventually, but we'll see how far it goes. They might just end up resetting the whole Discovery show. Yeah, I mean, Burnham might actually save her parents and never be adopted by Sarek, and be in a slightly different timeline. We'll see. Kind of like a Back to the Future vibe, where, maybe just the ship is kind of like Marty coming back from the future in a better version of the future.
Don't forget, I mean, okay, yeah, I don't think we're gonna get a tie into the whole Harry Mudd one this season, especially with only 3 episodes left, but they still haven't tied in Calypso.
Yeah.
And now, obviously, it's been established that in Perpetual Infinity that the time suit jumped to 950 years into the future.
Mm-hmm. So that would put it in the right area, So that would make sense. That I wouldn't say make sense, but they could, put up a plan and something. We'll see. But having Calypso happening roughly the same time as where maybe they left the ship there so that but why would they leave the ship there? Oh, and then program the ship to go to whatever. We'll see. There's so much stuff we can.
No, I just have I don't know. Because especially just because the words of it's going to be really unexpected, it's going to be completely different, that sort of thing.
Yeah, sounds like a major kind of thing.
Major twist that we're just not going to expect.
Hope it will. Hope it won't be an M. Night Shyamalan. So, what a twist!
Yeah. Well, apparently the finale was so moving when Ethan Peck read it that he cried.
Yeah.
So
actually, yeah.
It's just,
if you want to hear, because speaking of Ethan Peck, I listened to a podcast, Anson Mount's podcast, The Well, which had a 2-parter with Ethan Peck, and actually the second part was, the first part was, mostly talk about him and him being an actor and whatever, and the second interview is a little bit more deeper and personal because they actually speak of was a time where he got close to death. He had an accident and kind of put his whole life in perspective, and it really went on that tangent, and it was really, really profound. And actually, you can see how that experience helped him in becoming in impersonating Spock. So highly recommend. And actually, the episode that came out this week or last week, I think it was this week or last week, was with Mr. Saru, Mr. Doug Jones, and that time he almost killed Randy Quaid.
Okay. I keep meaning to listen to it because.
But wow. just those three. If you know, of course, for the Star Trek fan thing. But you know, it's a podcast mostly focused on creativity, whatever the form it takes, and it's co-hosted by a special effects artist. So they bring, especially with the Doug Jones episode, it brings a lot of, brings a whole other dimension when they talk about heavy makeup and stuff. Having someone who actually knows how it is. So yeah, give it a listen. Yeah. So coming back, Ethan Peck. Yeah, apparently, I looking forward, man, because all I want to do see is him shaved and wearing that blue tunic at the end.
I don't think we're going to.
Oh, really?
And the reason I said I think we're going to is because he, out of Rebecca
Ramjan,
that's it, and Anson Mount, he's the only one out of all three of them that hasn't been officially announced that he's leaving after season 2. So I think he'll be back for season 3. If not all of season 3, at least the beginning of season 3. Yeah. Which is why I think we're not going to see a completion to the whole Burnham thing and her mum at the end of season 2. I have a sneaky suspicion that Burnham might get catapulted into the future. And then in season 2 it's kind of like Search for Spock. Season 3 is going to be Search for Burnham. It wouldn't surprise me. It just wouldn't, I don't know, because just I'm thinking outside the box, because obviously, their words were, just see if I can find it now. I don't know exactly what it said. Apart from the fact that they said that it will provide satisfying answers to certain fan questions like aesthetics and stuff. That's why I really hate, when you have to go through about 50 different things to find something. You're just like, that's why. Kind of like. They paid much attention to it. Yeah, they need to wrap up the whole spore drive thing as well. That's been bugging me, because I thought it would be all to do with the fact that it was hurting them. The race in the network.
Yeah, but honestly, they haven't been using. They haven't used it since they brought back Culber. They came close to using it with the area, when Arium kind of disabled the system. So we'll see. Maybe they won't have to use it again, and then at the end of the series, they will actually, do what they said they would do at the end of the first season. Because they can't always just have like a galaxy-wide emergency to justify using it.
I can't find it now. I thought it was on Trek Movie, but it's not. Just the way that they described how it's going to end and stuff like that. But one plus side is they've built the bridge to the Enterprise, so we will get to see that. But
Hopefully, if the information is correct, we'll see.
So yeah, I mean that's pretty much about the Borg.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Don't. Just don't.
Don't. Well, they won't be used in Voyager, won't they? I mean, that's the thing you've got to bear in mind. I mean, they went from a kind of like a creepy-ish villain, and then, you know, and like First Contact, kind of like you saw them in the kind of like the gory way, and then they were introduced in Voyager, and then they were just kind of like overused.
A joke, like, yeah. They just became a joke, basically. That's the thing.
Kind of like villain of the week-esque type thing, weren't they?
Almost, yeah. You can only fight the Borg so many times.
Or it gets boring. Anyway, so yes, moving on to this week's episode. What did you think of it?
Just again, it was kind of conflicted. Lots of good character development. We had the one nice fight, and then I still felt like it was empty in terms of. There were, again, some answers, but again, we still don't know what those signals were.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it wasn't Burnham's mum, so it was just like, okay, so what are they?
Yeah. I felt like this episode and last week's episode could have been compressed into one. Almost.
Depending on what, But...
I mean, that's fine. They're taking, because, people have been complaining that, shorter seasons mean less story and less character development, which, they're showing right now is not, it's not actually that. They're actually taking a lot of time to show character development. It was nice to see Culber wearing his whites again, and whatever happened to Cornwell? Did we see her leave the show?
Yeah, she just pops up, doesn't she? Like a whack-a-mole. Yeah. She just pops up occasionally and then just disappears again. But no, I mean, they're either going to rush the next 3 episodes, and that's kind of like really frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
Or they're going to wrap it up like they did with Will You Take My Hand?
Yeah.
And that was not a very good season finale, because it kind of like...
Hopefully they, because I know that they had some changes in production by that point, so, and also, I'm not sure about the sources that there was some budget crunch, but that always happened when you're nearing the end of the season. It's like, budgets and
but I mean, my point is I really hope that it's not.
It won't be Shades of Grey.
Yeah. Flashback episode. But do you know what I mean? It's kind of like because I don't want to shit on Discovery because I really like it. But I really hope that they flush out the next 3 episodes. That
well, yeah, because next week, looks like next week they're really starting again, because we've been at Dr. Alpha, not Dr. Research Outpost for like basically 2 episodes now. We've been sitting in the same place for 2 episodes, which was really bothering me. But now we're moving again. We're going to Boris. So that's nice. That's fun. But before talking about next episode, let's just finish talking about this episode. They screwed the pooch for Burnham's mom. That's nice. Time crystals, she can't travel in time again. So that might be why they have to send the ship into the future, because since she's not unable to travel anymore, by leaving the ship, by pulling a Marty, Doc Brown and Marty kind of leaving it in a cave in the far west, so Marty can find it in the 50s, kind of trick.
Yeah, I didn't think of that actually. Would explain it, but also. I don't know. It's I guess it's clutching at straws, but it's only because I think one of the most frustrating things for me is even though the episodes for me they've been good because they've developed characters and we've kind of like seen more of a softer side to Emperor Jojo and stuff like that. But it's going to be. It's going too slow, and it's what I've said from day one. Really, on this series, it's the pacing is all off, and I think that they're going to suffer in the next 3 episodes.
Well, one thing you mentioned, Jojo, I think they're starting to try to redeem her, or because there's a lot of people that don't like the fact that they're actually trying to redeem the Jojo character, for understandable reasons. Although, from my point of view, it's kind of like the nurture versus nature kind of thing. It's kind of like you bringing an alien that was in a culture of violence and savagery, and you bring that alien into the Federation for whatever reason, because his homeworld is destroyed or something. Of course, that alien will have to adapt. And why wouldn't it be the same thing for JoJo? Because she was, they made a point to say she was raised to learn how to survive, and that she actually, and that Burnham's actual mom saw her sacrifice her life for Burnham, so she eventually will find her own humanity, and I think that will be what's going to be interesting about the JoJo character, and I think it is going to be interesting to see, to see an actual mirror universe character have more than 2 dimensions. And actually, they actually started. Yeah. And there's been a little bit of foreshadowing for the fate of Pike also. When Brennan's mom said, I've seen the future, you won't like it.
That's another thing that is bugging the hell out of me. Is not because we know his future, but just some of the things I see around. Are we going to see him in his wheelchair? No, it's about 10 years too early. Next.
We'll see.
I just be interesting to see how they're going to wrap it up, and wrap it up in a way that isn't too rushed. But I don't know. Apart from pacing issues this episode, I mean, obviously you had the whole Leland and the AI
I think that they might be setting up the downfall of I was about to say S.H.I.E.L.D. because I've been watching lots of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. recently. But the downfall of Section 31, because even from what we're going to see next week, I think that's the note they're going to play, is how Control kind of taking over Section 31, and I think that's going to...
Yeah. Well, actually, there's a Section 31 book, isn't there, that ties into...
Control.
Yeah.
I would say ties in, but has a lot of similar themes, and I think that Kirsten Beyer most likely, well, she knew about it because she also was writing novels in the same period, and she's a friend of David Max, so she know what happens in a novel verse. So I don't think it's I don't think it's a coincidence. It might actually be. She probably took the idea and ran away with it. And that's nice. It's kind of like how they picked up Kirk's father's name out of the books, out of the old TOS books. So that's what they also do with Star Wars. Now that the canon has officially been reset with the whole books nonsense, which were whatever the fans will tell you were never the Star Wars books. Whatever you were told were never canon in the first part, because George Lucas knew nothing about his own universe past the movies that he made. And I remember my boyfriend told me of something here, like game developers meeting George Lucas for a game project, and then they were talking about the game and whatever, and you had George Lucas like taking a doll, like I wouldn't say a doll, but an action figure from a character and another one, and then saying like he's friend with this guy, but like those two characters were like 1,000 years apart. It's like,
yeah.
So what again, Star Wars. So like how Star Wars brought Grand Admiral Thrawn back in the actual official canon of Star Wars in the Star Wars Rebels show, which was really well done. So I'm glad that they have Kirsten on board for. Yeah. So yeah. so sorry.
Trying to think of other key things from the episode. I mean,
lots of good. I think the acting was really interesting. I think Sonequa really, she overacted a little bit, but again, you see your mom, dad back from 20 years. Of course, you're gonna be teary and.
But it was almost like she went back to inner child again, wasn't it?
Yeah, a little bit.
How she reacted when she found out, it was almost as if like she was that scared little girl in the cupboard again. Or the,
it's totally understandable. I can understand it, and those moments with her mom were between Burnham and her mom were really hardcore, and they really felt for those, especially when her mom said like I was there watching over you. Really emotional, and that I think the actress really sold it well, and I gotta say I did like the little I'd say the prequel, but the tidbits that we saw from Burnham's youth. Again, it was really well done, and the guy who played Burnham's father was actually Sonequa Martin Green's husband.
Yeah, I know, that was... we were teased, weren't we, at the beginning of the season that he would crop up everywhere, but...
Well, maybe not everywhere, but he would actually crop up, so he did. So, might be, I can only imagine, like, going out with someone who played my dad, even though, like, it's a different age, and, still, it's kind of... Hopefully they don't bring him back to to their present day, so, like...
Yeah, no.
But then again,
so wrong.
Acting.
Daddy issues. So yeah, apart from the excellent fight scene with Giorgio,
I gotta say,
Tyler gets stabbed.
One thing I want to mention, I don't think I mentioned it, is I'm happy. One thing I'm really happy about is the way, like, because I could have said it last week, but I'm going to say it this week, because we knew that her parents died by Klingon hands, and we got to see it. But having to know why, and again having that why being internally consistent with the show, is good. To me, it's nice. It's not like for any kind of random. It's just like, oh, they were murdered. For it's something that was internally consistent with the show, kind of close a loop there, and again, I think that's what you have to look for any kind of clues when looking into what's going to happen next. Is don't look, it might be some. I think what you're gonna get from like future Trek series is or Enterprise is going to be winks and nods and Easter eggs. But the meat of the scenario is always going to be its own thing. And that is something I actually appreciate.
Well, yeah, I do. I like the fact that it is all consistent and there's not, a reset at the end of every episode. It all flows through, and, there is even, throwbacks to season 1 and stuff like that.
Or like unexplained Janeway appears out of the blue,
yeah, no,
good.
I think one of the most frustrating things is because there hasn't, there's been a few twists and turns and stuff like that, but it's unlike season 1, which I don't know whether it was just a different ilk of writers or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
There was kind of like clues dotted throughout the whole series. This is kind of like I have no idea where the next 3 episodes are going to go, and I think that's kind of a little bit frustrating, and especially because the pacing of this back end of the season has been kind of like offish. It's personal. I mean, a lot of people won't agree with me, and I mean that's cool. I mean, a lot of people apparently hate the show and stuff like that. But, it's just like whatever. But for me, it's kind of like I'm watching every week, and it's kind of like, okay, move, move.
And it's going to move a lot more faster this week and in the next 2 weeks. It's going to be a race to the finish line.
I mean, moving on to this week, we get to go back to Borath. We saw what could be their take on the D7 next to Discovery.
And seeing how good of a job they did for the Constitution class, I think that it's in good hands, and I'm not worried.
People, unless it's like a carbon copy of the 60s, people will know.
Yeah, even there. But
again, if the trailer doesn't give too much away, I mean, we get to see Lorel again, and obviously,
I think Section 31 is going to get hit really bad by because we see lots of corpses floating in the depth of the of the space. So in the trailer, so we'll see.
I missed that? I'm gonna have to go back and look, I think. But we get to meet one of the guys who was on the Shenzhou from Vulcan Hello. Apparently he's joined 31. Lorel's back.
And honestly, that crewman, I never really saw him before. I'm probably in the background somewhere, but I saw his face and it didn't ring a bell. So I'll have to memory alpha it and trust trust him on that.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't ring a bell to me either. Linus is back as well.
Yeah, well,
they're all sitting having lunch and stuff.
Yeah, that looks like what's going to be a nice scene. And the scene, Tig Notaro was on the Late Show last week. She saw a little clip of, I think, what's going to be this week's episode. She basically goes in sickbay for a hangnail and gives some attitude. So that looks, looks funny. That
Carmen Grant is the bloke from
Vulcan. Let's see here. Played by Ali Momin. So memory alpha. Karma Grunt. He was the human male Starfleet officer who lived in. He served about Shenzhou and as a Starfleet tactical officer. Okay, fair enough. And you see the name Carmrun Gunt was thought up by Star Trek author David Mack. You see, David, you matter. That's the first. It's not just fanwank. Even though most of the book is now down to crapper, the names stay. So that's important. That's good. But I still, even though the books are not canon, I still find them an interesting experiments for characters and see how they would react in different situations, and it's still nice in that way. So I still enjoy my books. I
still haven't got much further on my Destiny novel. I think I'm still on about 10. Yeah. It's not really. You see them. I mean, I think at the end of this episode, we might get to see the Enterprise because, judging by the trailer, there was loads of Section 31 ships heading on their way to meet Discovery and stuff. So I just have a feeling that the Enterprise will warp in and save the day.
Yeah. speaking of books, I got a nice fat brick here. It's not a Star Trek book, though. It's one of the Expanse book that just launched this week, and it's like a hardcover with 500 pages thick. And I haven't read the book before that, so I got 1,000 pages of reading that I have to catch up on. Thankfully, I don't have to read those to catch up on the upcoming season of The Expanse, because the books are way ahead of the show, unlike another show from George R. Martin. That's
yeah, that got canned, didn't it? If I remember rightly.
Oh yeah, Night Flyers got canned. But what I made a reference to is how Game of Thrones got ahead, like the show got ahead of the books.
Yeah, I read something the other day. He said that the book ending won't be nothing like the show ending. It's just like, okay, so how's that going to work? Because when they normally add up something, they don't change it that much. But never mind.
Yeah, Matt Ham's on the chat. We actually have someone watching us. That's nice. That's
my brother. Oh bless. Loyal.
Yes. Well, I don't think the AI is going to carry on season 3. I hope not. Maybe the aftershocks of it will carry on, especially for Section 31, since they're going to have to get their own spin-off show. I think the consequences of it are going to remain, but the actual AI is going to go away. And the signals, well, we'll see. I think signals are Burnham's somehow. Actually, Burnham,
it's Burnham or
Michael Burnham. But, again, remaining internally consistent, or I'll just blame Spock because it's always.
What do you think
Spock's
his dad?
Oh no, his dad's dead. Her dad's dead. It's dead. It's dead, Jim. I mean, although there was some, like the way Burnham's mom spoke is like, I'm gonna save you and your dad. And what if the way that she was able to save Burnham is by, she was not able to save her directly, but by making sure that she stays safe in a cupboard and gets adopted. That's the way she saves Burnham. And we'll just have to see how she, quote unquote, saves Burnham father. That's one thing. One thing in Star Trek that really bothers me is you're in the future, like you're in a hyper advanced society, and yet the tradition of keeping your husband's name is still so present. I don't know for you in the UK, but here in Quebec, actually, I'm not sure about Canada, but I know in Quebec you can't do that anymore.
Well, you can't.
You can't you can't take your husband's name anymore legally. Like when you marry.
What? So if you marry someone, you keep your maiden name.
Yeah, it just stays your name. You don't change your last name. It's part of our civil code, and I think it's. Yeah, sorry, I'm going on a different tangent here, but I
just a little bit.
It kind of always bothered me about how Star Trek is supposed to be this advanced society where we don't care about who you are or what you sleep with, but that tradition of taking your husband's, it's basically your husband. Why couldn't Riker take Deanna's family name? If you're such an advanced society.
Joke about that, didn't he?
Yeah, they kind of joked about it, but but still, but whatever. That might be a discussion for some other day, but it's something that bugs my secular Quebecer kind of view.
I think we've covered everything, haven't we?
Yeah, and not too long this time. Hopefully,
we're getting better.
We're getting better at this.
No, to be fair, I think it's more along the lines of because there's not much news and stuff like that. And I'm still a little bit shocked that we still haven't got a name for the Picard show.
Yeah,
Then you
no.
got the actors. It's kind of, you know.
Yeah, still kind of
They
stands
start
still.
production, don't they, in like 12 days' time or something? So I read.
Well, maybe not 12. Well, yeah, April. So we'll see. I don't think there was an official announcement about a specific date, though.
No, it was just April.
Yeah, so.
And season 3 of Discovery apparently starts in July.
Well, we'll see.
Oh, yes, Nico Martin Green's got a role in Space Jam too, isn't she?
Yes, but you actually watched Space Jam this weekend. It was not as bad as I remembered it. Kind of really funny, good movie. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I can't stand the original, but never mind. That's just
Bill Murray comes up and saved the day at the end. That's all you got to remember.
No, it's shows like not shows. Films like that don't really appeal to me. I've got very eclectic films. I own almost 1,000 DVDs, and they're all from things like rom-coms down to slash.
And all of them not Space Jam?
I don't actually think they are. No, I don't.
Okay.
I'm so sad. All my films are in alphabetical order, A to Z, so I can just check to see. If
Isn't that A to Z?
Z.
Oh, you're just teasing.
No, I don't own that.
Good.
So,
Then.
and no, I won't be watching. But no, I mean, it's kind of interesting because if production is supposed to start, or shooting is supposed to start on Series 3 in July, it doesn't give her long to film.
Well,
Space
it might
Jam.
just be a supporting role, like, someone's wife or something. Like in like the main player's wife, I think she's probably gonna play, or maybe just
like
a voice
cameo, a walk-on cameo.
I don't think she's big enough for a cameo, but yeah, it's probably gonna be like I don't know who's gonna be. Is it gonna be Shaq?
I have no idea.
Whatever. Like, let's say it's Shaq, but she might just end up playing Shaq's wife. Like there was an actress for Michael Jordan's wife. So I think that's gonna be probably that. So it's not gonna be super long, unless she just ends up playing a voice, which is gonna be even better. Even better for her schedule, because just have to show up in a booth.
I don't even think there's like a start date for Space Jam 2. So I mean, she could have shot the entire Series 3 of Discovery before she even has to, do anything for Space Jam.
Whatever basketballer they find, they're gonna have to get a lot of acting coaches.
So true. Unless obviously, what's his face, The Rock does it.
Oh God! No.
He's doing everything, doesn't he? So
yeah, but I don't know.
But anyway, should we wrap up?
Yep. So, yeah, that was fun. So hopefully next week, more action. And
yes, and hopefully some more news and
some,
but no, I do hope that they pick up the pace a bit, especially considering if they don't, and this is just like another episode in terms of like the pacing and
by the looks of it, I don't think it's gonna be though, but we'll see.
Okay. But then we're left with 2 episodes, and it's just like, unless they're gonna like really push it and answer every question possible within 2 episodes, I don't know.
We'll see.
Yeah.
There's still season 3 now. See ya. Ciao.
See you later.